Our last item of the evening is Bob Wimmer from Navitas, who's the energy performance contract and consulting firm that the town has retained for, help me Rick on this one, the wastewater recovery resource. He's going to give us an update of where the project is at. And Bob has a nice green golf shirt on. And Bob has had some planes, trains, and automobile fun coming up from suburban Baltimore.
Correct.
He's supposed to fly up today for this. Many people know with traveling. His flight got canceled, so Bob had to jump in the car and drive up here. So thanks for that.
It's a nice drive.
It is.
It's good weather, fine.
It's
It's
not
a
even-
drive.
It's good that you have to start on the West Coast.
Exactly, right. So, while Art's pulling up the presentation, I'm Bob Wimmer with Navitas, project manager for this project. And one of the things I do want to start off with is my thanks to Art, Rick, and his full team. This project is very interactive. They've been very timely, very helpful with getting information, making decisions, and putting in the effort that is needed to keep this project moving as we enter our 6th month. So just a refresher on where we are in the project. The top line was known as a traditional project delivery. This is the design, bid, build methodology. So right now in that box on the far left where it says basis of design, that is where the project would be. You can see it moves in a very linear approach. This delivery method, the Article 9 collaborative design build methodology, we're currently in that large box, which includes a number of things, including the development of the basis of design and the design documents for construction. Also, we are doing an ongoing financial evaluation of the project, and we've got our construction trade partners all on board. So we are doing a lot of activity at the same time, which gives us a lot of benefits, and I think gives the town a lot of benefit of better information to make decisions. So just a quick refresher for everyone of the wastewater plant, for those who are not familiar. There's two components to the project here. One is known as the asset renewal. We refer to this as the cost of doing business. The second is the WRRF, or Water Resources Recovery Facility, components of the project. And this is the elements of the project that provide a revenue enhancement opportunity for the town to offset some of the operating costs. So throughout the project, we have a number of components that are asset renewal, and then two major components that are the WRF, the solids handling facility, and the new biosolids and outside waste acceptance facility. So over the last 5 months, we've had a lot of project activity. We've just completed and submitted the basis of design report to DEC. This includes significant documentation on the design, the calculations necessary, along with our 30% drawing set, as we delve into the details of what it will really take to construct and operate this facility. Also, very importantly, we have been working with the local community, both waste producers, waste haulers, and those who may be interested in the future fertilizer product. And in a series of interviews and surveys with these individuals, we have identified a significant amount of potential waste that could turn into revenue for the town, and also a number of markets for the fertilizer product, which we take a cost and lower that significantly by making a marketable product. Over the course of the last couple of months, we have done a number of grant applications. Right now, $18 million of grant applications have already been filed, and we have another one, the WIA grant, that will be due on September 9th. So that, all told, we're doing whatever we can in order to offset the cost that the town would have to, the citizens would have to pay by trying to get as many grants as possible. As part of these grant applications, we've also been reaching out to those same firms that were interested in utilizing the facility for either waste disposal or taking the fertilizer. They have offered letters of support. We've also been able to get some letters of support for some local industries who see this as an asset to them to be able to continue to expand their businesses, and also from other entities that are interested in doing development in the town and see the expansion as an asset for the ability to treat their waste. So a quick update on where we are on looking at projected revenue. So the four main sources of potential revenue are septage and leachate, two liquid waste coming into the facility. High-strength organic waste, this is food production waste, other food-type products, easily digestible materials. And finally, municipal wastewater sludges. These are the sludges made by other municipalities at their wastewater plants, where they would need to dispose of them rather than taking them to the landfill, as Webster currently does. So in the original 2021 PER projection, there was about $560,000 per year in potential revenue. We are now putting a projection in at about $1.15 million, so more than double the revenue projection. We also see that there is excess material in the market. This is a projection. We don't want to make this rosy and say that everything is going to happen, so we have dialed it back. We feel very comfortable that this is a good revenue projection and has shown there's a lot of interest in the market for this facility. So, next on to the budget update. With the current situation, the budget has expanded from July of 2021 at the $31 million. We are now working with a budget right now of $44.2 million. If we move to the next one, we'll talk about some of the issues there. So as we look at the impacts on the budget, the investment in revenue opportunities, as I said, more than double the potential revenue, means that we had to design facilities that would be capable of taking in all this additional waste. So we've greatly expanded the acceptance capacity for the different types of waste, along with looking very hard at the truck traffic flow and the operator safety within the facility, so that as the facility becomes a revenue source, there's going to be more traffic, and we want to make sure that there's easy flow both from a business side, but also from the staff side, to make sure that they are operating in a safe environment. I don't think anyone has escaped the inflation that exists today, and certainly the construction industry has not. So we've seen significant price increases in equipment, in building materials. So that is just a reality of today's business environment. We have also, as I stated, gotten deep into the design, and as you get into the design, there's a lot of details that come out, a lot of conflicts that were not realized, and as we have a facility now that we know how we can construct and operate, there were additional costs that were necessary in order to accomplish the goals of the project. So I just wanted to do a quick way of summarizing this. So one of the project goals that we worked with was that we wanted to provide Webster with the highest value per annual net cost of the project. So debt service minus the revenue and savings that came in. So if we go through where we were in June of 2021, the asset renewal project, what just has to be done, the cost of doing business, was a $19 million project with an annual town obligation of about $1.1 million. This was the debt service and the operating costs associated with those upgrades. When combined in June 2021, the asset renewal and WRF project, or the revenue enhancement project, totaled $31 million. That was discussed back in June of 21. And this had an annual obligation of $974,000. So this was where the project paid for itself and helped to offset some of the asset renewal components of the project. Where we are now, well, the capital costs for both elements of the project, both the asset renewal and the WRF, have increased. If only the asset renewal, the cost of doing business components were done, the town obligation would increase to about $1.56 million. So that's the cost of debt service and the operating costs associated with that. However, just as previously, while the total project cost of doing everything together at 44.3, the annual obligation for this is $1,060,000. So as you can see, this annual obligation of doing the full project with the ability to take the revenue, have the additional savings from the biosolids disposal costs, and the other aspects of the project, still has a town obligation that is less than what just the asset renewal project was a year ago, before the age of inflation and before a lot of clarity was there. So it's still a project that meets the goals where we're trying to find the highest value per the net cost to the town. We've done that through identifying additional revenue and trying to provide capacity for the system to continue to grow and take more. In terms of next steps, we're presenting tonight, August 11th, to the workshop to give an update to the town. The next major grant application goes in on September the 9th. We are in a position to negotiate and execute an early equipment purchase and construction contract in October or November with approval of the town. And we would like to have groundbreaking in spring of '23 as soon as the construction season can open, such that we can start to get these savings and revenues into the town as soon as possible. So with that, I'm very happy to answer any questions that you might have.
My question might be for all three of you, but you mentioned the VA grant application September 9th. I know we applied for this last year, and we were turned down for it. We did not receive the grant. What do we need to do to beef up that application and make this a fundable project through WEA's eyes?
Sure. So some of the things that WEA sees as beneficial or more favorable in awarding the grants, one is that the project is construction ready. You have already checked that box. You have a design. You have your team ready to go. By the time that the grant application is, you can show all the progress as part of it.
Do you feel that we're more shovel ready than we were when our first application was?
Significantly more shovel ready than we were. Secondly, the letters of support. The granting agency, EFC, likes to see that the community is involved and behind the project, because those are ultimately the ratepayers, so they want to see those letters of support. And the final piece I would recommend is that the agency would like to see that the town is fully committed to the project, and they see that way of commitment as a bond authorization. So if the bond authorization matches the budget for which the WEA grant is submitted, they find that to be a much more supportive document, because they know that the town is committed to the project by doing that bond resolution.
So we need to do that before September 9th?
Yes, the resolution would have to be ready to go so it can go into the packet on September 9th.
Yeah, it'd be in our best interest to amend the bond resolution to equal 100% of the expected cost, even though we applied for many millions in grants, which we're hoping to secure. Doesn't mean we're going to spend to the gross amount.
We saw that with phase one, we did a bond resolution for the total amount, and then received grant funding and it came in at less.
Correct. So the borrowing would be the approved bond resolution unless any grants or internal funds have been committed to the project.
Thank you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this time the WEA grant application, they've taken the cap off. Before it was 25% of the project, 25% of the project, up to $5 million, and now they've taken it off, so we can get it up to $10 million now.
Right, so if a $44 million project is submitted, you would be eligible for $11 million in grant funding. What they have done, instead of having a total cap for the project, is they have an annual distribution cap So instead of the funds coming in one lump sum, they would be distributed in $5 million per year, per fiscal year. So with the construction schedule, the funds would still be coming in during the construction period.
Bob, can you go backwards on the screenshots to that one?
Yes, sir.
I think it's that one. On the far right,
Yes.
the way that you figured this out, you gave no credit for us getting any grants. This was
There's
as
no
though
grant money in
we
this.
bond for a whole 44 million.
That's correct.
This is the quintessential description of being conservative. Okay. And that, did that, I don't want to go there, did that factor in also that the town is committed to $2.5 million from our ARPA money for this?
No.
Okay. Even making it even more conservative, which is good. And as you said in one of the earlier slides, we applied, well, as of September 9th, when we applied, will be upwards of $28 million in grant applications.
That's correct.
I don't, this, you wouldn't be able to answer this, Bob, because I don't know, you weren't around back years ago. Phase one, an asset renewal cost of doing business was $12 million. Basically the secondary clarifiers for the most part. It's a $12 million project, we got a $3 million grant, is that correct, Art?
Right.
Did we get any other grants on phase one? Did we apply for any other grants in phase one?
We did not, and I would question that. What other grants were available?
Thank you. This project, I know you don't like to hear phase two, or it's not really phase two. This is a completely different animal that aggregates right now at 44 million. 26 million of it is asset renewal. We got to do it. Just like we had to do the secondary clarifiers. Let's rot it out, we're dead, we got to do it. But the revenue production and the cost saving component, that is another $18 million. Those items, and the reason why, Bob, your firm was able to be looked at from Article 9 energy performance contracts, a very new concept to the town of Webster. We had never done it before. But it also opens up the grant opportunities that we never had when we did really phase one. That might be one of the reasons we didn't apply for the grants.
And I would say, completing these grants, the information and data that now that's supplied definitely bolster those grant applications.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We may not get any of them. And if we don't, then Bob just showed the numbers. But if we get them, some of them, we won't get all of them, then these numbers will get better and better and better. Jenny? Anything?
Thanks for the opportunity to come and visit. Thanks for very good some of the workers there. The working conditions was pretty bad. And like I said, it's a bananas multi-million-dollar questions. How we're going to pay for it, and how we're going to move on time. So, but you guys do wonderful.
Thanks for the presentation. Also, I just want to, this is an opportunity individually to meet with your team, Art, and go through a much deeper dive into this. And I have a bunch of questions and all the answers given. As Tom said, this is a project that we have to complete this given the age and sewage treatment plant. I'm very excited to see the drying facility itself, and I think that that will be the first of having this facility in this area. And I was very happy to learn the amount of research that you've done speaking with potential vendors down the road, there is one vendor that would be capable of sending a trailer load a day to be processed in there. So we're driving the train as far as, new technology in our sewage treatment plant. And, I'm really looking forward to that. And the other question I had was, okay, where, as far as construction goes, are we going to start? And that's one of the areas that we're going to start first, is a drying facility, while in conjunction, working on other areas of the plant. And my other concern was, as I've expressed in other meetings on different projects, is what about the escalation, okay, of costs? Because, we can lock these people into September, but obviously the construction's not going to take till, we're not going to be done in September. So I was very happy to learn that most of these major components, there's at least between 4 and 6 different companies that will be submitting prices. So that way you can, work accordingly. So the work that you've done to this date is pretty significant. It's reflected in the research that you've done. So I just want to say thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Chairman Patty? I'm very pleased with where we're at. You can't help inflation, it happens, and unfortunately, we're trying to build something that's not here, and inflation's hitting us. It's got to get done. 28 million, there was no doubt that had to be done. So whatever we can do that can offset that with income coming in with the process, I think it's a good thing.
As the liaison to the wastewater treatment plant, I've been closely working with this team. And then the monthly updates, where the whole team will get together. I was talking with the supervisor today, saying that I'm just blown away every time we get together, because the brain power and the talent on this team that we've brought together to go along rather than a linear line, or more condensed version where everyone is working on this in parallel and getting things done. Excuse me. Each monthly update, we bring more information to the table, and it's encouraging to me as when we look at these revenue sources. It's based on interviews and research and real data, not a pie in the sky of what would be happening in some other area. We've gotten to know what the facts are and what we're looking at, and I just really appreciate everything you've done so far. Thank you.
You're welcome.